Hey, I'm Juan Esteban Garcia, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to create your first automation using the power of artificial intelligence, and more specifically, we're going to use the boom of the moment, which is ChatGPT. And without further ado, let's actually get started. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm already on OpenAI's website. If you go to openai.com, you're going to see this website. And we are here because, in case you didn't know it, OpenAI is the company behind all of these amazing artificial intelligence products. So, for example, they are the creators of ChatGPT, but also of DALL-E and some other tools that they have here that we can use. And the first thing that we're going to do, actually, before we dive right in and before I start showing you how to create this automation, is that I want you to visualize the scenario and the context for the automation that we're going to create. Let's pretend that we are an auction company, and let's say that, for example, there are some luxury items that we have that we will be auctioning and that we will be selling to people. And let's say that, for example, we're going to hold an event in which we're going to have a lot of billionaires and people with deep pockets and tycoons and very, very powerful people. And so the goal is that we have a huge list of items that we will be auctioning, but ideally we want to create a description for each of these items, because first we're going to post them online. Let's say that we have a Shopify e-com store, and so we will be posting them there, and we want people to be able to see them in advance. But as you can imagine, if we have, let's say, 500 articles that we will be auctioning, then as you can imagine, it's going to be a pretty difficult task for us to write the description of all of this. But fear not, my child, because with what I will be showing you today, you'll be able to save yourself dozens and dozens of hours, because, well, we're just going to use the power of artificial intelligence. And so let me show you first some of the items that we will be working with. And so, for example, you'll see that here in our list we have the original Chicago Bulls jersey signed by Michael Jordan, which is, as you can imagine, is going to be something quite expensive. And so we need to create a description for this. Also, we have here Christopher Columbus shoes when he found America. So, I mean, that's quite amazing. I mean, this is definitely something. And the same thing with Maradona's shoes when he won the World Cup. And we also have a lot of items here. And, well, in this case, we only have 5 items. But let's pretend, just for the sake of this video, that we have 500 items or more. And so what we are going to do now is that we're going to take each of these items, and we're just going to have ChatGPT write the description for all of them. And so how do we do this? Well, I'm gonna show you. So the first thing that we need to do is that we actually love to use in this channel a tool called Make. And in case you didn't know it, Make is a visual automation platform that lets you create very, very powerful scenarios. And by the way, if you haven't used this at all, don't worry, because I'm gonna show you everything that you need to know. And in case you don't have an account, the first thing that you need to do is that you need to sign up for an account. And by the way, I want you to know that Make is free and you can use this completely for free, but it does have a limit. And so, for example, if you're going to be processing a larger volume of tasks and automations, then it makes sense for you to use the pro version. And I want you to know that Make was kind enough to give us a special link, which you're going to find here below this video. And with this special link, you'll be able to sign up for an account completely for free, and you're going to get the pro plan free for 3 months. So I just want you to be aware of that. And if you want to take advantage of that, just use the link that you're going to find below. All right, having said that, I'm gonna assume that you already created your Make account. And we're just gonna head over here to scenarios, and we're going to create a new scenario. And the first thing that we're going to do is that we want to create an integration with OpenAI. And so how do we do this? It's pretty simple. We're going to come here to applications, and you see that we have a module here called OpenAI GPT-3. And by the way, I want to explain something to you. Even though we've been mentioning ChatGPT throughout this entire video, the reality is that we won't be directly using ChatGPT, but instead we're gonna be using the technology behind ChatGPT, which is GPT-3. So I know that is just a bunch of weird words, but just bear with me. We're going to use basically the same technology that ChatGPT uses. And so at the moment we're using version 3, but I want you to know that in the near future they will be releasing version 4, which as far as I know and as far as they've said, it's going to be even like 500 times more powerful than what we already have with ChatGPT 3. And so it's going to be mind-blowing for sure. And we're going to use this version, and the first thing that we're going to use is we want to create a completion. And just so you know, I'm gonna open here a ChatGPT in my computer, and basically what I'm gonna do is we're just going to have ChatGPT generate a description. And so you see here the prompt that I'm putting here. I'm just going to simulate a completion first, and then we're going to do it here on Make. And so we're going to write a description of maximum 2 paragraphs for an item that will be auctioned at an event attended by billionaires and powerful people. The item is original Chicago Bulls jersey signed by Michael Jordan. And so in this case, what I did is that I took the first item of this list, and I'm just gonna have ChatGPT write a description for me. So you see that it starts to give me this nice description. The upcoming auction will feature a true gem for any basketball fan and collector. An original Chicago Bulls jersey signed by none other than Michael Jordan himself. Ladies and gentlemen! So here we are. And if we head over here to Make, basically what we're gonna do is that we're gonna take this description that we got here, but we're just gonna automate this. We're going to create an automation that is going to take each of these items and just create a completion for it. So you just have to click here where it says create a completion. And what you will notice is that most likely you're not gonna see a screen such as the one that I'm seeing right now, because the first thing that you have to do is to set up a connection. And so how do we do this? Well, it's pretty simple. If we go to OpenAI.com and then we sign up for an account, and by the way, this is just assuming that you don't have an account. If you already do, it's just a matter of logging in, and that's actually what I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna use my Google account, and you will land here in this website where you will find, like, for example, the documentation, examples, and whatnot. And the first thing that we are going to do is that we are going to create a new connection. And so you see here that here I have to type the name of my connection. Let's say that, I don't know, I have 4 different accounts, and so you would like to name them accordingly. And in this case, what we need to do is to generate an API key. And in case you don't know what an API key is, it's basically just like a password that you use to authenticate your request, so that whenever you make a request to OpenAI servers, they know specifically which account is using their services. So if I click here where it says create a new secret, well, you will see that in my case it is saying that I already reached the maximum number of API keys. So I'm just gonna get rid of this one, and I'm gonna create a new secret key, which I would copy here, and then I just need to paste it here. And the next thing that I gotta do is come here to organization ID. And if I come here, you will see that here you see my company's name, which is Phoenix Code, and then you also have the organization ID. So it's basically just a matter of copying this, pasting it here. But in my case, I'm not gonna do it because, as you can see, I already have a connection in place, so I don't have to redo these steps. And all right, the next step that we have to do is we need to select the model that we are going to use for this. And just so you know, it is important that you understand this model's concept. And if I come here to documentation and then I go to models, you will see that basically there are 4 different basic models, and you see that our GPT-3 models can understand and generate natural language, and they offer 4 main models with different levels of power suitable for different tasks. And so by default, the language that, for example, is used by ChatGPT is DaVinci 003. Hey, I need to pause the video for a sec to share with you some awesome news. One day after recording this video, ChatGPT launched their new API and it's got a new model called GPT 3.5. It's the most advanced model out there, and the best part is that it's 10 times cheaper than any of the other models. Even though we can use ChatGPT for free, they do have a paid version, and when we talk about the prices in a few moments, you'll get a better idea of how it all works. Anyways, you can still use everything we are about to show you in this video without any problems, but I wanted to let you know about this new option that's now available. We'll be covering it in our next videos, so stay tuned. And this is, as you can see here, it says that this is the most capable GP3 model and can do any task the other models can do. And so this is by far the most capable one. You can do amazing things with this, but you also need to know, and we're going to talk about this in a second, but we also need to know that the maximum number of requests is 4,000 tokens, and these tokens have some pricing associated with this. I will be covering this in a second. Just want you to know that for now this is free. And also the training data, it's up to June 2021. And so, for example, if you are looking for events that occur, for example, in 2022, 2023, then you're not gonna find any of that because this data hasn't been updated yet. That doesn't mean though that we're using something outdated. No, believe me, this is quite powerful, and most likely you are already aware of that. If you're watching this video, then most likely you have used ChatGPT yourself and you know what I'm talking about here. So this is the first model. We also have Curie. And so Curie, you see that is very capable, it's faster and lower cost than DaVinci. We also have Babbage, which is capable of straightforward tasks, very fast and lower cost, and Ada, which is just for simple tasks and usually the fastest model in GP3 series, and it's also the lowest cost. And so it is important for you to know, for example, if I come back here and I go to pricing, you will see that they have some pricing models, and by default, when you set up an account, you're just going to get, like, I think you're getting like $18 free, and so you have the ability to play this for a long time before you have to pay anything at all. And so just keep that in mind. And you see that here they explain, for example, the usage of DALL-E, which we will be covering in future videos, but in this case we're using language models. And you see that this is the fastest one, but this is also the most powerful one. And so that basically means that it's the most powerful one, but also the slowest one. So just keep that in mind. And here you see that they are basically charging you, I don't know how to read this, 0.0200 per 1,000 tokens. So just keep that in mind. And you see here that prices are per 1,000 tokens. And you can think of tokens as pieces of words, where 1,000 tokens is about 750 words. So just keep that in mind. This paragraph, for example, is 35 tokens. So just so that you have a rough estimate. So, I mean, it's quite affordable, but I just want you to know that if you make heavy usage of this, then you might end up with a very hefty bill. And so what I encourage you to do is that you go to my settings, and here in billing, you see that you will have the option to set up some usage limits. In this case, I'm not using a paid plan. I mean, I am using a paid plan for ChatGPT, but not for GPT-3s. And so you can set up a limit here in which you can say, hey, if I reach this amount, then send me an email. But if I reach this other amount, then stop the usage of this platform, because basically it's going to be a hard limit. All right. So having said that, let's come back here. And in this case, we want to use DaVinci 3. And also one last thing before we move on to the next field, I want you to know that it's possible for you to create your own models, which is a whole new level. I mean, imagine just taking this, what you are seeing here in this model, and creating and like fine tuning it and creating your own version of this model, but that is suited and well trained specifically for your business use cases, for your business communication, for the kind of communication that you use with your clients. And so it is going to be very specific for your business. And as you can imagine, that opens a whole new level, because you'll be able to have a real chatbot that is able to interpret real communication, real language, and you will be able to create very, very powerful solutions. And by the way, if you're interested in something like that, you can reach out to us. We offer that kind of service. I do want you to know that it's going to be a premium service because it requires a significant amount of effort, and it's also going to require a significant amount of investment. So just keep that in mind. All right, enough talking. I know I talk a lot, but let's move on to the prompt. So the prompt is basically what you just saw here. So in this case, just to keep it simple, let's copy paste this. And for the maximum number of tokens, I'm just gonna use something like 100, and remember that a token is basically what I show you here. I forgot the number. I think it's 1000 tokens. It's roughly 750 words. And for the temperature, just keep in mind that you have to put here a number between 0 and 1. The higher the number, the more risks ChatGPT or actually GPT is going to take. And so if you want to get very creative responses, and in sometimes it's going to be some, I don't know, how do we call it? Some naughty responses, so to speak. If you are willing to accept that, then you can put a higher number. But if, for example, you have a more formal app, a more elegant app in which you cannot afford just giving some erratic responses or some weird things, then I would encourage you just to use a lower number. In this case, let's keep it simple and let's use 0.7. And you see that here, let's actually skip this one. And you see that here we also have the ability to select the number of completions that you want to get. In this case, let's keep it simple. We only want one. That's it. Alrighty. So if I click here, run once, let's see if it works. And so you see that it takes a few seconds and it just finished. And so if I click here where it says choices 1, you see that this is the description that it generated. Let's take a look. It says, this rare and timeless piece of sports history is sure to bring in a lot of attention at the auction. Up for grabs is an original Chicago Bulls jersey, blah, 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 blah. And so, quite interesting, huh? But one thing you will notice here that the text is, it looks like we need to make the number of tokens larger. And in this case, I don't really care. I'm just going to use 1000 tokens because, as you know, I like squandering money like crazy. Who cares? And now that we're done with this, let's actually connect our Google Sheets spreadsheet. And so I'm here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new module. And I'm gonna search for Google Sheets. I'm here, I'm gonna watch rouse. And you see, well, keep in mind that you most likely you will also have to do the same connection that I already did, which I'm not gonna spend time explaining you how to do this. I know that it's pretty straightforward. You just click here, just follow the steps, and it's as simple as that. And so I'm gonna choose here my spreadsheet. I'm gonna pick this one that says auction items. And I'm gonna select this sheet, and here in the table contains headers. You see that in my case it does contain a header, and here I'm just gonna select these headers here. You see that this is basically the first row, and I'm gonna change the limit because I want this to process up to, I don't know, let's say 10 rows each time that I run this. So in every execution cycle, it is going to process up to 10 rows. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. I'm gonna connect it to the next module that you have here because we basically want this to be a sequence of automations. So it is first reading the Google Sheets, then it goes to the completion, and then the next thing that we want to do is to update the row because basically we just want to be able to see the description right here. So I'm just gonna pick again the spreadsheet that I'm gonna use for this, auction items, the sheet name, and you see that the row number. If I click here, I'm able to basically just get the data from this module. So I'm gonna click here where it says row number, table contains headers. Yes, it does. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take whatever we got from GPT-3 and we're gonna click here where it says choices, and if I click here, it is basically going to update every row with whatever we got from ChatGPT. Pretty cool, huh? And it's as simple as that. I'm just gonna hit OK. And one thing before I forget is that I need to get rid of this item here because I want this to be dynamic. How do we do this? Pretty simple. We just click here. You see that it shows me here the other modules, and in this case I'm going to use the item, which is going to be this column right here. I'm gonna hit OK, and I think that's it. Let's see if it works. Hopefully it does. I'm just gonna click here where it says run once. So you see that it starts to read the rows, and you see that it takes a few seconds and it just processed the first one. Pretty cool. So let's see. It says here, this original Chicago Bulls jersey signed by the legendary Michael Jordan is a must-have for any fan of the game. Okay. And you see that it starts to do exactly the same process with the other items that we have here in the spreadsheet. So, I mean, it is going to take a few seconds, and if you're processing a large volume of items, it's going to take even longer, but you can see here that this works just fine. So look, we were able to take something that is going to, I mean, even if it's just 5 items, I dare you to try and write the description for each of these 5 items and try to make it in a witty way, in a funny way, in whatever you want, and you are going to realize that it's going to take a while because it does require some brain power to do this. However, because we are some very, very smart kids, we are some very smart cookies, we were able to do this in just a matter of seconds. And so this is the power of this is the power of artificial intelligence. And well, not only artificial intelligence, but technology in general. You are able to automate a lot of things, and we actually have more videos covering this here in this channel, and you are able to save yourself hours and hours. And not only that, you're also able to cut costs, because basically you don't have to pay someone to write all of this for you. You can just do this yourself, and maybe you just have someone proofread it and make any changes if needed. Alright, so I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you learn a lot from it. I want you to know that we will be posting more videos about these topics, and also some of our viewers and our audience here in this channel loves talking about WhatsApp, and so we will be covering some very powerful use cases using ChatGPT and WhatsApp, and so I just want you to stay tuned because we will be posting that here. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, to like it, to comment on the video, and we appreciate your support and your interaction with us. Thank you so much. Until the next time.